So welcome to Franchise U, and today's episode is really a special one for me. And so, when we launched the undergraduate franchise management certificate at the University of Louisville, the hope was it would help students uncover the power of franchising, discover new career paths, and really think about things they may never have considered. And today's guest is living proof. Today, I'm joined by Abby Epperly, the very first student to earn the undergraduate certificate in franchise management. And since graduating, Abby has gained valuable professional experience and recently took a huge leap by opening a badass coffee shop with her father, Doug, in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Abby, I've watched your journey, and I am so excited and cheering you on, and I can't wait to talk about your story. So welcome to Franchise U.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
It's going to be great. So, Abby, let's go back. Let's start with when you discovered franchising. Let's go back to your days as a student. Before taking your first franchise course, what did you think franchising even was?
Great question. Franchising to me, I honestly thought of McDonald's. That's what my thought was. It wasn't anything like what I think it is now. Franchising was fast food. It was for people that had all of the wealth in the world to go be business owners themselves. It was these massive brands doing these massive things. They were super well known. And turns out franchising is not that at all. It is, but it isn't. So there's a lot more to franchising than that.
That's the truth. And so what made you decide to enroll in our undergraduate certificate program?
Yeah, so I enrolled actually because of my dad. So it's my dad and I doing this badass franchise. But way back when, it seems like so long ago now, he was actually looking into franchising first. He wanted to, just see what was out there. It was during kind of the COVID time where he was like, what else is out there for him professionally? And so he found franchising and he was like, I'm thinking about franchising. And I was like, I know nothing about that. So let's look and see what we can find. Came across the franchise class at U of L and I was like, this is perfect. I can get my franchise fundamentals. I can learn the basics and what is he trying to do here. So that's kind of why I chose the franchise class to begin with.
That's awesome. And you probably were surprised to find one. So what particular project or class or maybe even a podcast really changed your thinking and made you realize this could be for me?
Yeah. So, it sounds pretty basic, but it was honestly the franchise fundamentals class and the class about franchise law because I knew nothing about it. And I was at that time I was, I think a sophomore and I was thinking about what am I going to do after college? What's my life going to look like? And I had always told myself, I want to be out in the world doing things. I don't want to be in an office. I don't want to do corporate things. That was just me personally. And so taking that franchise fundamentals class, I was like, oh my gosh, I can actually do this. This is actually really cool. And this is something that is possible. It's not that far of a reach, really. Because franchising, the cool thing about it is it's for everybody. You have different price points you can hit. You have different industries you can hit. So for me, looking at franchising, I was like, oh, wait. There's things out there that are interesting to me and that could be fun for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. And, to know yourself, Abby, that you don't want to be in an office environment, that takes a lot of self-reflection and perspective. So good for you. And I know after graduating, you had a few different career opportunities. And instead of me talking about those, why don't you tell us about your journey after graduating and before Badass?
Yes. So after I graduated, I decided to go and do the Disney College program in Florida. I went and I worked for Disney for about 6 months. I was a lifeguard at the water parks, which was so different than anything I've ever done. And it was a lot of fun and I absolutely loved it. And when my time ended there, I came home and I actually worked in a packaging company for a bit, running their social media. I was doing just LinkedIn, Instagram, stuff like that. It was actually my dad's packaging company. He has a lot going on, okay? A lot going on. So it was his. I was running all of their social media for them, helping them get their website up and running, helping them get a presence going online. And so I did that. And then I was like, this franchising thing, it's kind of interesting. And I had found Badass and I was like, this is a great opportunity. So that started probably, oh goodness, early last year, early 25 was when we started kind of looking at that. So there was that little bit of a gap where I got to go have fun and play at Disney for 6 months, and that was great. And it was the relief I needed. And then it was like, yeah, franchising is it. That's what I want to do next.
Well, that's a good story. I remember how excited you were to go to Disney, but you said to me, I'm still thinking about franchising, but I'm going to go do this. And I think that was a smart move on your part. And I'm sure you learned some things. So how did those experiences really help prepare you for business ownership?
Yeah. Those experiences, more than anything, it taught me about myself. It taught me what I want in the world, what I don't want to see in the world. I learned a lot about relationships and building relationships with coworkers. I learned a lot about building relationships with the people above you in leadership. And then just being at Disney specifically in general, Disney's like the hospitality king. Like, it's everything about hospitality that people, they reflect on and they try to bring it into their business. And going to Disney, it helped me see what the kind of service I want to provide. And so that's kind of what we've taken forward now, is like learning about Disney's hospitality from the inside. What they talk about from the inside has helped me now teach my team what I want from them.
That's awesome. And I expected you probably would say something like that because, to your point, Disney's reputation for hospitality is stellar. And so taking those principles in, and then I did not tell you to talk about relationships, even though that's all I talk about in my classes. So I'm really happy you realize that is what it's about, especially in franchising. So thank you for sharing all that. So you and your dad, when did you got really serious? Early 2025. And so tell us about how those conversations began and how he was an integral part of this as well.
Yeah. So that conversation actually started 24, and it took until 25 for me to convince him that, like, this was it. This was what we need to do. And so I had found Badass in one of my franchise classes. I was on entrepreneur.com looking at stuff and found Badass, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. That's great. And I shared it with him, and he told me no. And he was like, not right now. And I was like, okay, fine. And then I came back, and I was like, what about now? He was like, no, not right now. And then 25 rolled around, and I said, Dad, we have to do this. There's a missing part of our community, and I think this could be like the puzzle piece that fits in really well. And he was like, fine, I'll reach out to him. If that will make you happy, I'll just reach out to him. And I was like, yes, that would make me really happy, actually. So he reached out to him, and from there it was on. And he has been so supportive of me, of wanting to build this together. This is definitely a partnership. It's not, just he's my boss. It's definitely a partnership between us, and we have a lot of fun, and sometimes it's not fun, but we work through it. And so he's just a massive part of this and helping me create something for my future as well.
Oh, that is so awesome. And you talked about you found Badass through a franchise class, and we did look at thousands of different franchise brands. You had an opportunity to study all. Tell me what it was about Badass Coffee that really piqued your interest and kept you so persistent on the pursuit of it.
Yeah. The first thing that stood out to me, obviously, is the name. It's very cheeky. It's
so
very
fun.
Funny. It's like everybody goes, what? But it's actually about donkeys, which really connected with me. I have been around horses and donkeys since I was 12.
That's right.
So literally half my life at this point. So that stood out to me first. But then when I started to dig into the brand, when I started to go to their corporate site and start looking at their story, what they're about, Ohana and the aloha spirit are the biggest things that Badass is about. And that just really connects with me. I love my family. I want to do everything for my family. And so when they're all about the ohana, the aloha spirit, the good vibes, the positivity, all of those things just really stood out to me. Because again, it was around the COVID time, a little during COVID and post COVID, when there was just a lot of like negativity going on. And it was just this little bright light in the world that I was like, I can use that. I can use that for something bigger than just me. I can use that as a light in my community. And so I'm seeing that come true today, which is amazing because people love us and they love to come hang out with us and they love our story. And so, yeah, it was their story. It was their values. It's what matters to them, matters to me. And so on a personal level, we connected. On a professional level, it fit us really well.
That's awesome. And it's so important to have that right cultural fit and the values fit. And you found that in Badass Coffee. So that is awesome. So let's talk about the due diligence process though, because there is a financial component. Having the passion is number one. I totally agree with that, and having the value alignment. But when you think about the financial commitment, talk about that due diligence process and maybe some of your advisors you brought along and how you guys really determined this is it.
Yeah, so due diligence is huge. You're right. It is a massive part of becoming a franchisee. It has to fit you financially. It has to fit you as a passion. It has to fit your community. But the most important aspect is it financially viable? And so we talked a lot about it. My dad is an amazing businessman. He has 30 plus years of experience. He knows his stuff. He knows his personal finances really well. And so that helped us personally in the process of saying, here's what Badass requires of us, and here's what we actually can do. So it was really helpful to sit down and just have those conversations, and like real conversations between the both of us of like, this is the financial impact it's going to have. This is what we have to do for the next 15, 20 years, to make this a success. And so knowing those financials was really important. The other part of the due diligence process is always just having a lawyer look at all of your stuff.
Correct.
All of your stuff. Every single contract you have somebody else look at it because they're going to catch things you don't catch. Our real estate agent was great when we started looking at buildings. He caught things we didn't catch. He understood things we didn't know. We've never leased a building before, a retail space. Like, we don't know what, tenant improvement allowance we need to have, or we don't know what our CAM charges are going to be, our common area maintenance charges. We don't know those things. And so having the knowledge to say, I don't know everything, so let me get some experts in here, is a super important part of the due diligence process. You want to surround yourself with good people that are on your team and on your side, because, every contract ever written is going to be in favor of the person who wrote it, right?
Probably.
So you have, yes, exactly. So you have to have some people on your side that are going to go, I'm going to help you act in your best interest.
Yeah.
And it's not, landlord against franchisee or franchisor against franchisee. That's just business. Everybody's looking out for them, and surrounding yourself with good people and knowledgeable people and being able to say, I don't know everything, so I need help, is the biggest part of understanding the due diligence process, the financials, and then everything else a little wrapped up into that. But that's kind of, where we settled was open and honest conversations in the due diligence process is the best way forward. Otherwise, there's miscommunications, and we don't want that.
Exactly. And you want to start off on a solid foot, which is exactly what you did. Thank you for sharing all of that, because that part is really, really important. And it's the hard yards, right? It's difficult to do. So, but you did it, and then you got to your grand opening. Oh, Abby, tell us about that grand opening day.
Oh my gosh, the grand opening was so excited. Everybody was just pumped. Our team, we had, I think, all but like 2 of our team in because they were on vacation. And so we had everybody there. Our team is like 15 or 16 girls right now. So everybody was there. We had a couple of our lovely marketing people from our home office that were there supporting us that day. They were running around. They were helping run games. We had Plinko. We call it Lava Drop.
Fun.
We were giving away like sunglasses, dog bandanas, keychains, notepads. We were giving away so much. And we got a ton of people to sign up for our loyalty that way. The only rule for Lava Drop was you have to be part of our rewards program.
Smart.
So we had some sign-ups that day. We were sampling coffee. We were sampling food. We had a local dog rescue there that set up a table and was there. Carolina Basset Hound Rescue. We absolutely love our friends over there. They came and set up a table, so they were our charity partner for the day. Yeah, it was a crazy day. We top sales on top sales. It was crazy. The community really showed up and showed out, and we did amazing. And the team was amazing. So our grand opening was several weeks after our soft opening. So we gave our team some time to kind of get their feet under them and know what they were doing. And then that truly did pay off, because come grand opening, they did not need me, which was amazing.
Okay,
So
that's a
I got
sign
to
of
run around. Yeah.
that's a sign of a good leader. Well done.
Thank you. So I got to run around. My dad, Doug, he had so much fun too. He bought 200 lays on Amazon and laid every single person
awesome.
that came in the door. It was
That-
great. So
That's awesome. All right, but you stole my heart when you talked about the Basset Hound Rescue. We
Yes.
share a love of Basset Hounds, and on the side, I need a couple of photos of those sent my way, please. So,
I will send you pictures.
how fun! Oh my gosh, that might have gotten me there. That is amazing. So, tell us what a typical day looks like for you now.
Oh my goodness. There's really no such thing as a typical day. Being a general manager, I'm also doing my MBA right now, so I'm splitting my time.
Yes.
So I don't really have a typical day. But when I am there, a lot of what I do is mostly just managing relationships with employees, managing relationships with customers. I do a lot of inventory. I do a lot of, counting and making sure we have what we need. I jump in wherever I'm needed. So sometimes I walk in the door and it is chaos, like absolute chaos. And I drop my bag and I'm on the line and I'm working alongside my team. Other days they're like, we don't really need you. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do like the admin stuff that's, the not so fun,
Yeah.
building schedules, doing inventory counts, things like that. But I think, every day is different, and that's a good thing, because otherwise it gets very mundane. But having something different every day, having to learn something new every day, like I learn new things every day from my team, and I think that's just so amazing. And like yesterday, I had my 2 shift leads come to me and they were like, we have an idea and here it is. And I was like, I love that idea. Let's do it. Let's see how it goes. And so typical days are changes and altering and, evolving as we grow and change and learn and do all these things. But yeah, a typical day, it's not super typical, especially when you're new as a franchise. It's your baby and you're worried about it and you're there way more than you probably need to be, but it's okay because it's fun.
It's a lot of hard work up front. That is something that we always talk about. So, what are your plans for the future of Badass?
Ooh, badass future. So our franchise agreement has us doing at least 3 stores. So we signed the development agreement for all of York County in South Carolina. So we own this territory, and so we have our first one in Rock Hill, and we're already starting to just lightly look at the next areas. We want to get our feet under us on this one because
Sure.
this store is huge. It's way bigger than a standard Badass store. Most Badasses are about 1,500 square feet. We're at 2,600 square
Wow.
feet. We are huge. So we're trying to get our feet under us on this one, and then we're going to move on to the next one and then the one after that. But, in the next 5 years, there might be more than 3. There might be
Awesome.
other franchises. We don't really know yet, but we know we have at least 3 we got to get done. So
That's awesome. And my last question about Badass before we talk a little bit more about you as a franchise owner. What's your favorite thing to drink or eat at Badass?
oh goodness, don't ask me that. That's so hard. Oh my gosh. Oh, we have so many good things. It truly depends on the day.
So what did you have
Coffee
yesterday? What did you have
Yesterday I had an iced chai latte. It was really good.
Yes.
We have coffee cubes for our like iced coffee lattes.
Oh.
So we make our ice cubes out of 10% Kona coffee.
Oh.
So our iced lattes don't get watered down. The cool thing is if you like dirty chais, but you don't want all the espresso, we can do our chais with like coffee cubes.
That's
and
awesome.
It's amazingly delicious. I had that yesterday. The day before I had a coffee cooler, which is our frozen coffee, and it's like dessert in a cup and it's really addicting. And then favorite food is the Badass One sandwich. It's a Hawaiian roll and it has egg, cheese, Spam, pineapple, and barbecue sauce on it.
Oh my gosh, who would have thought of that? That's awesome. That's awesome. That is great. Well, let's talk a little bit about you as a franchise owner. So you've gone from studying those legal documents to actually signing a franchise agreement. How did that feel when that day happened?
Oh my gosh, it was exciting and terrifying all at the same time. It was exciting because it's like, this is the next step. This is my future. This is what I'm going to be doing. And I'm doing it with a brand that I love. The scary part was, oh my gosh, I'm signing a franchise agreement that's locking me in for like the next 10 to 15, 20
Yes.
years, which is scary. It's scary opening a business. And then it's like, now you're on a clock, because most franchise agreements, they're like, you have to open within a certain amount of time. Within reason, obviously, because things happen. Things are out of our control. We had things happen to us that were out of our control. And yeah, it was exciting and it was terrifying. But the comforting part of it was, I know what I'm getting myself into, because I have had the education behind me to say, I know how to read a franchise agreement, because I've read hundreds of them at this point, and I know what to look for, and I know what the call outs are, and I know what is going to matter the most. And so signing the franchise agreement, it was exciting, it was scary, but it was also very calming, because it was like, I've had that education. I know what I'm getting myself into, and I know what to look for.
Oh, that's awesome, Abby. That's so great. What's been more difficult than you expected?
Most difficult? Oh, the day-to-days are hard. I think the biggest one, and this is just because of our brand, is the name Badass. We have to break the stigma of it being like a naughty thing versus a donkey thing. We're about donkeys, and we're about making people feel good. So that's a really difficult thing. We want people to be their best and go out and do their best every day, and we want to support them in that. So it's kind of breaking that stigma. That's a hard part. The most difficult part about the building process, about the getting to even opening, was managing all of the different relationships you have to be aware of. So when you think about the process of opening a franchise, it very much is like, I signed a franchise agreement, now what? And that's very real. It's a very real feeling. It's like, we signed our franchise agreement. We were like, okay, now what? Now what do we do? And it's like, go find the space. Okay. You have to find a really good realtor. You need a really good real estate attorney. Then once you have all of that figured out, you have to have a really good relationship with your landlord. And then once you have that figured out, then you have to have your general contractor, and then all of the subcontractors and all of those things. It's really hard managing all those relationships, because, Doug and I had these conversations all the time. We were like, where are we at on this? And we're like, who was that again? Who was in charge of that? And so it's very hard managing all of those relationships, but it's also really good. For us, what we did was we managed those relationships closely. So we built personal relationships with these people. When you build those personal relationships, people want to do things for you. They want to help you, right? So we built a really good relationship with our real estate attorney, with our real estate agent, with our landlord. We worked hard on those, and then we built really good relationships with our general contractor. And that was us being there all the time, probably more than we needed to, but it's our store, and it's our baby, and it's a massive investment. We want to know what's going on, but building that relationship, people help go above and beyond. They help you if you help them.
That's right. That's right. It's definitely mutual. That's for sure. So what's been the most rewarding part of this for you, Abby?
Oh, the most rewarding part? It sounds cheesy, but it's honestly seeing customers happy. It's seeing people in my community be happy. The most amazing thing every day, and I see it every day I'm there, is people get their iced lattes and they look at their coffee cubes and they go, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And I'm like, I know, right? They're like, my coffee's not going to be watered down. And I'm like, I know. We crack all of those by hand. We dunk them by hand. That's not a machine that makes those. That's us. We work really hard on those, and seeing people happy, seeing people joyful, they come in and they feel truly like a badass is the best part of my day, and it's very rewarding to see people in my community. They bring their friends, they bring their families, they do their Bible studies. I have a crocheting group that's going to be coming and visiting us. I have a men's group that comes on Monday mornings. I mean, seeing people truly come in and use our space as a community space is truly rewarding. That's exactly why we did what we did.
That's awesome. And I got to tell you, I've been having some ice envy hearing about these coffee ice cubes. I'm like, we have none of that in Louisville, so you need to get here. That sounds amazing. And community-wise, you need to look into the Mahjong groups. I'm an avid Mahjong player. So that would be a great place for Mahjong to come as well. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, many people talk about going into business with family and then it just doesn't transpire, but it also comes with some unique challenges. What's it been like partnering with your father?
Yeah, it's strange. It's fun. It's frustrating at times, like, to be totally honest.
Yeah, of course.
And he knows that, so he knows I'm gonna say that. But it's strange because it's a weird dynamic that is now introduced into our relationship, right? It's always been dad and daughter, and now it's boss and manager.
Yeah.
And so there's that different dynamic. And I think one of the and people pointed this out to me, I didn't even realize I was doing it, was when I'm at work, his name is Doug.
I noticed that.
He's Doug.
Yes.
When I'm at home, it's dad. And then the really interesting part is when I need my dad at work. And so I'll say Doug for one thing, and then I'll turn around and be like, hey, dad. And like, it switches a flip in his brain of like boss versus daughter. Like, this is where I need to be. And it helps him. It helps me.
That's awesome.
It creates that boundary. And so it was pointed out to us by actually our franchisor when they came to open with us. They were like, do you guys know you do that? And I was like, I do? And they were like, yeah. You call him Doug when you need something business related, but when you need something personal, you go dad. And I was like, well, that's interesting. So that's like an interesting dynamic we've had to figure out, and we're still working through it. There's new challenges every day. There's frustrations, there's times where my boss tells me to do something and I don't like it, because
yes,
that's just how it is. I'm like, some things I don't agree with, other things we agree very, very closely on. But the end of the day, it's family relationships are more important than business relationships. And the foundation of any good partnership with a family member is respecting each other and respecting each other's opinions and truly, truly listening. So, we've had to work really hard on that of like, this is my opinion and here's why. And then he explains his opinion and here's why. And then we go, well, that's a really good point. Here's what we should do. And it's usually a middle ground of our shared opinions, but it's really having that respect for each other that has like helped us manage this. But yeah, it's strange. It's exciting. It's awesome. And it's sometimes frustrating, but it's all of the above. And sometimes it's all of those in a day, in an hour. It could be whatever. But it's a really fun thing to have my dad be there as part of this experience. Also, just because he's an amazing businessman and he knows so much. And I'm like a sponge. I'm like, give it all to me. Like, what do you know that I don't know? And he's like, I have to give it to you in bites because it's a lot of information. And I'm like, that is true. That is true.
It sounds like within a year, you two could do a master class on working with your family. So that's amazing. That's amazing. Let's switch gears for the end of this and talk a little bit about advice you have for some students, because I am going to use this in the classroom. And so what would you say to a student who says, franchising is not for me? What would you say to them?
I would say it actually probably is in ways you don't think, because franchising is a lot bigger than a franchisor and a franchisee. There are so many different aspects of franchising that's out there. So you have franchise brokers that are out there. You can work in franchising that way. If you don't think that being a franchisee is for you, I would encourage you to dig a little deeper, really look into what franchises are out there, because a lot of people think franchising is fast food, and it's not. I mean,
No.
we're in coffee. We are in food service technically, but coffee I feel is very different than like a fast foods restaurant.
True.
The other thing is that there are so many different industries that are in franchising that you would never, ever, ever expect to be in franchising. Like there's franchises for professional services.
Right.
You know, there's bookkeeping franchises. There's dog grooming franchises. There's daycares. There's boardings. There's so many different things out there that franchising can be for you. And there's a price point probably out there for you to do it as well.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing is that there's so many brands nowadays that are actually going to franchise their brand. Getting in early on that is a lot of fun too, because you can actually help build the system. So if you're into building businesses and building brands, being a franchisee in a new brand might be something to look into for sure. But franchising isn't just for the people that have X amount of capital and can, you know, do this all day, every day. Franchising can be for everybody. In our franchise alone, there are so many people from different walks of life, and it's awesome to see us all come together and love this singular brand that we're in.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful advice. And, you know, you've often talked to me about universities need to teach franchising. Why do you think that's important?
Franchising is a gateway to lifelong success if you work at it. And, you know, corporate isn't what it used to be. You know, you could used to work your way up the corporate ladder and you could be wealthy, but you have to get all the way to the top to get to get there. But franchising gives entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, the chance to do something for themselves and build lifelong family wealth from a younger age. So while I'm doing this with my dad, it's like I'm still running this. This is still for me, and we're building family wealth. And so franchising as a whole should be taught because people need to know that there's other avenues out there to building their success in the way that they want to do it. So I love franchising because I get to be me and I get to share, you know, my love for coffee and my love for community and all of these things. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I hadn't learned about franchising in undergraduate. You know, I didn't know anything about it and I had a lot of misconceptions about it. So teaching franchising throughout college education, whether that's in undergraduate or graduate or, you know, professional or whatever, it's very important because it's an avenue that most people don't think is possible for them, but it 100% is possible.
Oh, I love that. And I did not feed that to you, Miss Abby.
She did not.
That is really great. I think really understanding the possibilities are just incredible. And so when you think about all the possibilities ahead of you, and you talked about building 3 more stores. So in 5 years, you'll have those 3 more stores.
Yeah.
Think even farther in your career. What does success really look like for you way in the future?
Yeah, way in the future, multiple franchises, multiple brands. My dad and I say it all the time. We want to build an empire. We want to build a franchise empire, and we want to do it together, and we want to do it side by side. So Badass is the start of that for sure. You know, we might end up with more than 3 stores here, but we also might stick to our 3, and we might go another direction and see what else is out there. There's new franchises popping up every day. Every day we see new ones, and we're like, that is a genius idea. You know, there's home health services. There's so much out there that, you know, we could go with. And so for me personally, success is 1, having multiple stores of Badass and having possibly multiple brands. The other part of success that I feel like a lot of people forget, and it's very, very important, is you have to be happy in your success. So success is being happy. If you are happy with your life, if you are happy with where you are, then you do have success. You are successful. So I think for me, it's having all of the awesome businesses, but it's also being happy is what success looks like for me.
Oh, Abby, that is beautiful. And really knowing what you want. And, you know, I think about you've only been out of school several years. You're working on an MBA and you already know that. I mean, how wonderful to know that at this point in in your journey, because you have a long way to go. You have a long runway for sure.
I do.
So
Just
that's true. That's true. So what you've done so far, what are you most proud of?
most proud of, one thing I'm really proud of, and this is like a combination of me and my dad, we're very proud of this, is in franchising, and this is just how it is people think it's franchisor to franchisee. It's downstream information all the time. That's not necessarily the case. And one thing I'm really proud of is my dad and I have really pushed our franchisor to look at the bigger picture of certain things. We ask them a lot of questions, and we not to question them,
Right.
but to encourage different thoughts. And that's something we're really proud of. And, I'm really proud of it because we come up with new ideas and we share it with our franchisor, and they're like, that's genius. Why have we not been doing that? And I'm like, exactly. So being just really proud of us having that relationship and the ability to bounce ideas off of everybody. And I get ideas from my team, and I'm really, really proud of the team I've put together. They're an amazing group of girls, and they come from all different walks and stages of life, and they give me ideas, and I'm proud of them, and I'm proud of how we can make our brand better from where we are.
Oh, that's awesome, Abby. You've hit on something really important. The best franchise brands are built on listening to franchisees who have these wonderful ideas and share them in the proper forums. So you're helping build Badass to be even a greater brand than it is. And my last question for you is, if just one student listens to this episode and decides to explore franchising because of your story, what would you want them to know?
I want them to know that it is possible, and it seems scary to start your own business. And don't get me wrong, it 100% is, but it is what you make it. So franchising, yes, you do have all the processes, you have the systems, you have the ops books, you have all those things. It is what you make it. So if you pursue franchising, go into it head first with all the passion you can, because that's what's going to make you successful. Your franchisor is going to give you the playbook, but it's what you do with the playbook that will build your success. So for whoever decides to go into franchising, because you listen to my crazy story, do it with full heart, go for it, have fun with it, enjoy the process, and just know that it will take work, but it'll be so worth it.
Oh, Abby, you've made this old professor so proud. I just think about what you've done. It's just amazing. Thank you for joining us in this episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you.